Hey everyone, it's AnaGirl. I was just rewatching PixieEleven on YouTube's videos about, do you believe in predators, and the perfect victim, the perfect storm. My experiences are very much the same. I still, to this day, have a very difficult time trying to intuit or relate to brutal acts that humans commit. I don't understand. I still don't understand. And I was talking to my husband about this after I first saw these videos when they first got put up. And it just, so often I'll turn to him and just be like, why? Why did this happen? Why did somebody do this? I don't understand. It doesn't, does not compute, whatever. Like, I just can't comprehend that people could be so overtly cruel. It's devastating, but it's true, and it's been a hard lesson for me. Like, people can be very dangerous, or intentionally hurtful or malicious or self-serving when it involves hurting somebody else. I know that with certainty, even though I still, Pixie talks about relating to, being able to understand maybe like how people have ended up in this kind of a place. And I do relate to that, like, yeah, Pixie, if you're watching, what you were saying about how they started slowly, like, making it okay, like, in the Predators video that you made, how you were saying, like, it was a gradual thing, and they'd think, like, the pedophile thinks, okay, if I move near school, then I can just watch kids and that'll be enough, or just knowing that I'm close. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, if I just watch, it's okay. And like the slow, gradual progression and amendment of personal beliefs and desensitization to pathology, I think that's very real. And like you alluded to also with the eating disorders, we do that too. We've kind of justified, normalized, and otherwise become desensitized, or this has become our way of life, like, it feels normal, and, to us, or it feels, I'm not finding the right words, but the psyche can adapt to accept things over time, to become accustomed to things, to become desensitized to things. I can totally see how that relates to the etiology and pathopsychology of abusers. As far as what you shared about reading a book, seeing a documentary, I had very similar experiences as well. I think, I'm trying to remember, I think there was a documentary that I saw first, and it was the same type of thing. They were interviewing people who had committed atrocious crimes, like serial killers and pedophiles and rapists and, thieves, or just all kinds of different convicted individuals, and how they shared, how they, knew right from wrong, but came to rationalize the pathological damaging behavior, and over time come to accept this facet of themselves, and then eventually committing the acts that they felt compelled to do. I didn't believe it for a long time, same as you. But I do now for sure, unequivocally. Hearing these people talk, I mean, it's one thing to read a book of case studies or listen to somebody in law enforcement sharing a profile with us, or, you know, second-hand analyses are very different than hearing from the perpetrators themselves. And I do think that this is a very riveting point for victims to understand how these people's minds work and why they did what they did. Does knowing this help? For me, I just feel more despair, more sadness that people are capable of these horrible things that affect our lives. And it's hard, and it's also frightening. Like, another thing that struck me is, you know, we have these stereotypical conceptions of like what a bad guy looks like, you know, or some of these people are upstanding members of their community, they're well liked, you know, there's no real way to know all the time, is somebody safe or not? And that's been a very hard lesson for me, because I value connecting with people and sharing with people and really speaking from my heart and listening to others speak from their heart, and to be aware that there's people with not so good intentions. It's been really hard to accept that. I know it, but it still really bothers me a lot. The second issue in the second video about the perfect victim, yeah, absolutely, I do think that things are done to identify a potential victim and plan for it and groom them and all of that. That happened to me. I hadn't spoken about this yet. I've been wanting to, but seeing you address this, Pixie, has really inspired me and given me the confidence to share my own experience. And I don't know if you'd ever be comfortable sharing particulars of your own experience, but if you did, I know I would like to know what you've been through. And I think more of us should share, you know. The silence is so devastating, and it facilitates other people's avoidance and denial, and I so admire everything you've done, your courage and temerity and tenacity and intelligence and strength and willingness to share. Sorry, my screen went out. You know, you're an incredible person, and I'm so glad you're, you know, sharing from your soul with us. And yeah, anyway, that goes for anyone. If anyone happens to come across my humble video and has suffered, please think about sharing your story. You're not alone. You're not alone. There's many of us who have suffered similarly. Unfortunately, far more than anyone will ever know. But yeah, I was absolutely groomed. In fact, on a retrospective investigation, I think this person who hurt me befriended my mother specifically to target me. I was a very awkward child. There were circumstances that set me apart socially. In my neighborhood growing up, we were the only house where the parents were divorced and my mother was single. We were the only, I guess the age too was off. Like, I was a little older than the younger kids. It was also mostly boys in the neighborhood. The one girl was several years younger, and her parents weren't comfortable with us being friends because I was older, and just my own personal nature. I was very awkward, different, didn't fit in, nerdy. Just, I ended up being very isolated and lonely as a child. And there was also abuse going on in the home from my mom. And my older sister got the brunt of it until she moved out, and it was me. But yeah, this guy, I don't know, he saw something in me. He saw I was vulnerable or impressionable or whatever, needing love and attention. That's how it started. He befriended my mother with his eye on me, and then slowly ingratiated himself to me. Like, he would bring treats, and after school we'd watch videos, or I loved to be creative and draw, and he would draw with me, and he got me, just little things to earn my trust and garner my favor. And I can't remember when the line was crossed, but it was crossed, and this abuse went on a really long time. And I blocked it all out eventually. I had no awareness, I had no memory of it. Until one day in 1996, it was an October night, and I was going through an old box, and I found these pictures that he had taken of me, and everything came back. Everything just came flooding back, And I remember just screaming and crying and falling on the floor, just incapacitated by this absolute apocalyptic catharsis of memory. It was devastating to me. Everything came back, and all it took was this one little slide, little negative of me in a leotard posing because I thought I was dancing around cute or something, but I can see with my adult eye that he was focused on parts of me that he shouldn't have been. Just everything came back. And when I confronted my family, I got mixed responses. My sister said she had a pretty good idea, but she was too scared to say anything. My mother, to this day, cannot admit that she knew, and it's horrible because there's no way she couldn't have known. I remember the police coming to the house looking for this guy because he was hurting kids at his daycare job. How do you not make the connection when you have two girls? I can't accept that. Anyway, yeah, so I do believe that what you said, Pixie, is absolutely valid. And thank you for sharing with us. Be well, precious one. Bye.